So imagine, if you will, a future where your medical care, your health care is extremely personalized and customized to be delivered in real time with medication, care, support developed by the individual Internet of Things, all your interconnected devices, real time, blood panels, healthcare, data analysis, enabled through large language models, through every bit of data that you're willing to share with the extensive healthcare network. On top of that, the knowledge that we gain over the next several years about genomics, the structure of your genes, enables the real-time data to align with the specific needs of your body, provide customized results to allow you to live the best possible life that you can live. This, beyond some of the extensive issues around privacy, certainly about sharing personal health data with AI models, your information. These sort of healthcare outcomes can help alleviate extensive complex social issues that we face in today's society. And that future could look many different ways. At Omron Corporation, we have developed and used what we call the cynic theory, which has been our guiding compass for how we design our technology, what we project the future to look like, and where we think that society is going. And there's quite a bit of information here, but essentially it's an analysis of the parallel paths between science, technology, and society, and how societal need will drive technological development, encourage scientific exploration, or the scientific exploration that drives the technological development that develops a new social need by the innovation that was created. We're currently in what we've recognized as the optimization period. Now, the optimization period is the time where we come through the industrial automation technology revolution, implemented extensive amounts of technology, and now are working to optimize the solutions we've created to address the negative impacts caused by those industrial periods of change and adapting to rapid changes from the technology and the social evolution. At the tail end of this period, which we are right now, we then move into the autonomous society. With the autonomous society, you see here, transitioning between the two phases, it's a movement to, and when I read the literature about this, explored the perceptions on it, it almost sounds like a scientific utopia where people are fully liberated to live fully independently and seek high levels of self-fulfillment because the technological advances have opened up new doorways. This also is a time where we're able to enhance human life by applying technology in novel ways that remove boundaries and barriers for people, that remove, in this context, healthcare boundaries and barriers. These technologies will provide people the opportunity to live their fullest and most enriching lives by integrating the AI technologies, the automation, the harmonization between human and machine, break down those barriers, opening up new doorways for exploration. The three pillars of the autonomous society are independence, connectivity, and creativity. Now, in the cynic model that we work off of, over the last 20 years, society has moved from a sense of community to a sense of individual. And we see that expressed in multiple ways. One of the most prominent ones being social media influencers, Instagram, where it's a very self-centered, ego-heavy society, and also moved from a society of seeking spiritual enrichment to material enrichment. In the next transition phase, it moves into keeping that sense of independence, refining that connectivity, while looking for something more than material wealth. This is all driving towards a data-driven health future where we remove that concept of intuition. That doctor intuition where you sit down with your doctor and they get a little snippet of what's going on with your life, where you sit down with a medical professional surgeon and they take a examination, maybe run a spattering of best guess tests to try and determine what they believe to be the root cause of illness. With this progression to the autonomous society, we're going to now enable people to have that greater independence and control over their healthcare, as well as make better informed decisions and provide more accurate, specific care to the individual. In order to make progress from the optimization society to the autonomous society, make a progress from our current biotechnology healthcare structure into this future, there is incredible hurdles, but also an enormous social need to push through and leap over these hurdles. Oopsies. One of the first and most prominent is bureaucracy. We've seen it over and over again with massive technological disruptive change, is the bureaucracies that we currently have are slow to adapt and struggle to fully comprehend how to manage, work with, and deal with the technology. We're seeing it right now with the mass introduction of AI. The governments do not know how to react. They do not know how to deal with deep fakes, with privacy issues. Healthcare, biotech becomes even more personal. This is about me. This is about my parents. This is about the people that I love and care about. And as huge change comes to these industries and to these areas, the bureaucracy is not going to know how to handle it. And as industry experts and corporations, we need to be there to support them, guide them, and enable them to make the right, correct, and ethical decisions. Financial limitations, and I'm looking at big macroeconomic financial limitations. There's areas that need investment. There's also areas that are restricted because of economic models that encourage inefficiencies, whereby the pay structures in certain areas of biotechnology are incentivized to provide more and unnecessary care. So when you introduce a much more accurate and laser-focused care methodology, it's going to meet heavy resistance. And the other one that's spoken about very often, which is a large part of social need, is an aging population. As we go through this progression towards an older population with heavy clinician burnout, statistically significant clinician burnout, we need to come up with new and novel ways to ensure that people are getting the care they need at every single stage in their life. One of the most astounding bits of information that I found as I was doing further research for this discussion, the World Health Organization, the World Bank did an analysis. Over half of the world population does not have access to essential health services. Beyond that, of the people that do, 100 million people push themselves into extreme poverty to get access to care that they desperately need. This means, pardon me, gets me a little emotional. This means that people who are trying to take care of a sick child, a sick relative, sick themselves, are spending all of their money and beyond all of their money, pushing themselves to the point where they can no longer afford food, shelter, anything else to keep themselves alive. These kind of social needs are why we need to leap over those hurdles and find a way to push forward with biotechnologies, biotechnological advancements, so that we can enable a basic quality of life. I was going to say an exceptional quality of life, but that's the stretch goal, a basic quality of life and a basic access to care for the half of the people in the world who are missing it and 100 million people who are destroying their financial lives to survive. Now, how do we get there? At this point, and I promise, I know this at some point feels like one of those movies where it's running parallel threads and some of them have tenuous connections, but it'll bring it all back together in the end. At this point, I want to discuss failings and mistakes that have been made in other areas and lessons we can learn from them. Now, this is a picture of my father. He's taught me many, many things in my life. He taught me how to play hockey. He taught me how to snowboard. He's also taught me many valuable lessons. And one of the lessons they shared with me that stuck with me since I was a kid was learn from the mistakes of others, because you will absolutely make plenty of your own. And so in this portion, I'm going to talk about some of the mistakes that have been made in other industries that can provide lessons for advancing biotechnology together. First is being prepared for disruptive change. My example on this one is Napster. And I'm sure many people have heard of Napster. Napster has recently gone through a rebirth and has become a music streaming service. But the Napster that I knew and loved came around in 1995 and turned the entire media industry on its head. It was a music piracy, well, a media piracy software, primarily used for downloading MP3 music files. For the recording industry that was completely controlled by a small collection of gatekeepers, it offered an entirely new pathway for customized experience. I didn't have to buy an album with 21 bad songs, get the one song that I liked anymore. I could just go onto Napster and grab the specific song I want. Now, they did also land in a questionable ethical area of providing music without compensation to the artists. But the lesson here is the music industry actually had access to the same technology for many years before Napster launched and could have driven this technology themselves and saved themselves 10 years of financial and economic hardship if instead of standing there in their ivory towers and saying, we're doing the right thing, this is absolutely what needs to happen, listened to the demands of consumers. And there was a level of skepticism that people were only downloading music from Napster because it was free. As streaming services became more prominent and are now the dominant means for consuming media, we realized the problem wasn't trying to sue Napster out of existence. It was that the wants of individuals and the way people wanted to consume media had changed. Being aware of the way that people want to interact with their health, lifestyles, and watching for parallel and tangential industries that will disrupt the biotech and healthcare industry will give us visuals of where things are going to go next. Next one is maintaining confidence. I call it brand confidence, but it's societal confidence, which has become more and more important. The company I want to talk about is General Motors. In 2014, General Motors recalled 2.6 million cars due to an ignition system failure. The ignition system would shut down while driving, kill the engine and the airbag system. At last count, this killed 127 people. The worst part of this story was when the inquiry happened and the government started asking questions, it was discovered that whistleblowers inside GM actually knew about the failure. And an analysis was done that said it would be more expensive to deal with the recall than to deal with the risk to human life. This is a very extreme case of erosion of brand loyalty because I grew up a Chevy GM guy. Spent most of my life tooling on old Chevy cars. And I always think and thought of the Chevy brand as large in integrity and quality, that I could always trust that truck would get me from A to B. This shook me and my belief in the General Motors brand, where if they had stepped up and said, no, this isn't right, we should not be sending this out. Also, we need to put these checks and balances in so that these wrongs don't happen. They could have saved an extensive amount of consumer sentiment about their brand, which is critically more important in this generation than any time before. And it's because we live in an era where we've moved into a concept of influencers as experts. In previous generations, people relied heavily on doctors, on engineers, on scientists, on futurists, on anything that ends with an ist, to find their information, to find their expertise, who's going to explain things to me. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we discovered that so much of society has started to look elsewhere for their best information and started to say, I'm going to do my own research. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk to Bob next door. He says this is no good. Moving away from this expert-based society to what I'm seeing as a post-science era, as you can see on the chart on the right, through the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a significant erosion in people's belief, essentially in science. And instead of leaning on scientists, doctors, experts, industry leaders, we now lean on Joe Rogan. We lean on the suggestions of the micro-influencer who's trying to sell specialized earth vitamins. This perception is something we all need to be aware of and need to manage if we want to move society forward, because inherently biotechnology advancement's a human problem. And we're not going to go anywhere unless we have buy-in from society. So, on that heavy note, let's talk back a little bit. As I was talking about with the civic theory, we've gone through this period of material wealth, social and economic, had this clash of communal values. Now we're moving towards spiritual wealth, social economic systems that support each other. It's going to lead to a future of biotechnology, as I've been talking about earlier, where people want everything on demand. Amazon's streaming that, Netflix is streaming that. Each of these companies provide you instantaneous access to exactly what you want when you want it, will trickle over and is currently trickling over into the biotechnology space. It'll be individualized, specific to you, for you, by you, and it'll be community driven. I mean that in all forms of community. Instagram communities, local communities, personal communities, as well as medical communities. There will be significant influence from all these areas. So, how do we prepare for it? And how does the automation enable the success of this transition? Collectively, being prepared for disruption. technology changes faster and faster every day. Consumer demand, consumer need. I keep calling it consumer. Individual health needs, individual health wants change very rapidly. What Omron has been working on and what we are focusing on right now is because of these rapid changes and because of these rapid evolutions, we focus on developing the concept of, and it's not developing the concept, it's not new idea specific to Omron, it's a focus area for us as a corporation, flexibility, so that as these technology needs change, new wearables develop, new pharmaceuticals are evolved, we need to create pharmaceuticals individualized for each person. All our technologies are being developed to be able to be modularized, adjusted, and change with the changing demands and changing needs of the facility. So beyond looking outside and recognizing future disruptions, also collaborating to develop systems that can be rapidly redeployable and adjusted to the new needs. Next, community perception of your brand. This is where I was talking about influencers, about finding the natural leaders within communities, and about finding the people who are going to control the viewpoints of the companies that are making these evolutions. On top of that, also full transparency and quality control throughout your process. We, Omron Corporation, work full line front to back, even out the door. People want to know that each piece, each thing that interacts with their body has been monitored and cared for. They also, in that on-demand society, want to know where it is in the process. We can help you provide that full visibility. Finally, aligning with partners with shared brands. And that goes back again to working on that community perception. I am an enormous advocate of people work with, they buy from, they interact with brands that they trust. And when two brands that they trust get together to create something fantastic based on mutual values and mutual respects, incredible things can happen. I'll show you a little bit of the Omron principles and the Omron brands, and then we'll wrap it up and send you guys back up to play with this technology with toys. We're focused on a vision for 2023 of continuing to create innovation driven by social needs with automation that empowers people. Working to enable the success of healthcare, life sciences, and the advancement of biotechnology will be the core principle for Omron. We may not be at the front line delivering the technology, but we want to be the backbone supporting the manufacturing and the every step of the manufacturing, the quality control. We have the full, and yes, this is my Omron commercial part of the presentation. At some point, I still work for Omron. The full gamut of technology to provide one synthesized solution. Now, can technology solve all social problems and all human problems? By the way, does anybody know I put a animatronic seal up on the screen? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, so it's like a comfort animal for seniors, loneliness and things like that.
Wait, let's show you. I hope you're not going the direction of Black Mirror because it's not that nefarious.
It's a Aziz Ansari show. I forgot what it's called.
Oh,
That's how I know.
yeah, it's along what you were saying. It's a animatronic seal to support people with Alzheimer's and provide them human connection. Now, I have incredible mixed emotions about this because I'm a big advocate for technology to solve societal issues. When my grandparents got Alzheimer's, most important thing was for me to spend time with them. And I'm hoping as we move to this autonomous society, we liberate more people to spend time caring for each other and supporting for each other, because technology may not be able to solve every human issue, but I hope it frees up time for us all to support each other in working through these challenges. Because healing is imperative to being human. According to Margaret Mead, the first signs of civilization in ancient culture was a healed femur. And if you think about it, in the animal kingdom, if you fall or break your leg, if you're a horse or a tiger, you are now a snack for another animal, because there isn't a community to save you and bring you back in their respect to health. This first sign of human civilization, the healed femur, fundamental to our collective future, and coming back to spending time caring for each other and supporting each other. We can do that through our jobs and through our companies by liberating the people to live higher quality of life, by providing care to the enormous amount of people that don't have it, and by opening doors to people having more time to spend with loved ones and friends, helping them through hard times. This is a major reason why I actually ended up moving from my last job to Omron, was because of the fundamental principles. This is our founder, Kazuma Ishi, and that box that he's standing next to is a digital timer. It's a little bit big, but he built and designed that timer for one specific reason. He discovered that people were being overexposed to X-rays during examinations. So he went and invented and developed a digital timer to time down to a 20th of a second, so that he could tighten the amount of time exposed to X-rays and reduce the amount of damage done by that exposure. Fundamentally believe that a company should not just be about pursuing profits. It has an obligation to serve society. And I've always believed that the biggest changes in society will be driven by corporations, and corporations with strong value systems. So I implore everyone in this room to take a look at the work you're doing, the work your company is doing, and see how we can move society forward together and enable a better future for everyone. That's it for me. Thank you.